There's a bub in my bed. Good morning. Oh, look at you. You're the cutest dog on the planet, and I love you so much. Yeah. Yeah. You like the scratches. Hey you guys. So I just wanted to do a quick little video today of what's in my gym bag. When I started my last prep, a few weeks in, I did one of these videos because I had some questions. So I figured now would be a good time to do another one. Because a lot of people ask me about my lifting shoes, belts, wraps, all that stuff, and I've added a couple things to my gym bag since last time I did this video. So let's get started. The bag that I use for my gym bag is the Fitmark Transporter Duffel. It's a very, very large bag, which is good because I have a lot of stuff to carry with me. It also has a little pocket in the front to keep one of their lunch boxes, so if you ever are prepping or something and you have to run to the gym, and then you have places to run afterwards and you need to bring your food with you, you can keep your food and your gym stuff all in the same bag, which is super nice. But it's very roomy, so it holds everything that I need to hold. But let's get started on what's actually in it. I'll start with shoes. So just basic high top Chucks. I use these mostly for deadlifting. When I injured my hip last year, I did use these when I was starting to get back into squatting, just to relearn the movement pattern, fix some of the problems with my bar path, and we wanted just a flat sole just to make sure that, you know, I wasn't drifting or getting anything like that from my lifting shoes, which do have a lift in them. Deadlifting in flat shoes, I prefer that versus deadlifting in my Ollie shoes, just because obviously with the lift in them, when you're deadlifting, Ollie shoes can make you drift forward a little bit, which is not really what you want when you're deadlifting. But with that, and another nice thing about this bag is it comes with a shoe bag. Okay, every time, well not every time, but almost every time I post a lifting video, I get asked about these shoes. These are weightlifting shoes. They are Nike Romaleos. These are the Romaleos 2. I use these for squatting, for weightlifting, so snatch, clean, and jerk. If I have to do any kind of, you know, clean pull, snatch, pull, anything like that, I wear these for that. As you can see, these have a little bit of a lift on them. That helps with depth in squatting. I really love these shoes. I've never tried any other weightlifting shoes. Like, I haven't tried the Out of Powers. I haven't tried anything like that. These are the only ones that I've ever had. I've had these for a little over a year. Yeah, I will tell you, if you try to Olympic lift and you don't have weightlifting shoes, it sucks. When I first started learning how to weightlift, it was just kind of a casual thing. So I didn't have shoes because it wasn't something that was serious enough at the time for me to invest, you know, $200 into shoes for. And I hated the lifts. I hated them so much. I wasn't very good at them, and it was a really frustrating experience. When Eric was like, when he took over my programming, which was actually a year ago today, happy coach athlete anniversary, babe. But when he took over my programming, there was going to be a lot more Olympic lifting in there and a lot more squatting. So I figured that was a good time to invest in them. And he was like, he just knew that when I started weightlifting in these that things were going to change. And the first time I ever tried to do a snatch or a clean and jerk with these on, I was like, oh my god, this sucks so much less. Yeah, I would definitely say if you're the kind of person that does, I mean, if you're a weightlifter and you don't have weightlifting shoes, that would be a really good thing for you to invest in. But if you do a lot of squatting, I know power lifters that do meets in these, but if you do a lot of squatting, these can be a great help. They do help you sink into the hole a little bit better in my personal experience with them. They are men's sizes, so these are a men's 8, and I wear a women's 10. So I believe you're supposed to get a size and a half down, but Nike runs like if you're a female and you need to get men's shoes, you're supposed to get like a size and a half down, but Nike does run about a half size big, I believe. So where I wear, you know, 9.5, 10, that would make me an 8, 8.5 in men's shoes. So I decided to go with the 8 because that was a little bit more on the smaller side. So that is it for shoes in terms of what I wear in the gym. So deadlifting, I want flat soles. I don't want a lift because I don't want that drift, but for things like weightlifting, so whether it's a full snatch or clean and jerk, or it's a snatch pull, a clean pull, or any kind of snatch or clean complex, as well as squatting, that's what I wear the Romaleos for. So here we have my lifting belt. I get a lot of questions about belts. This is just a, I don't know if it's Valeo or Valeo, but it's just a cheap Velcro belt. I think this was less than like $30. I could have invested in a more expensive belt, but I don't use it that often. And also, I know that Inzer belts are really popular. In terms of like the powerlifting belts, I can't use that for weightlifting because the thickness of a powerlifting belt interferes with weightlifting. So I did need a slightly thinner one. And the fact that this one, you know, it's Velcro, it was relatively cheap, but it gets the job done. I was like, yes, I'm going to get this one. The right time to use a belt, I get asked this a lot. In my personal opinion and in my experience, obviously there's a lot more experienced lifters than me, but in my experience, belts should only be used when needed. They are a tool, not a crutch. So and I mentioned this in my first What's in My Gym Bag video, my biggest pet peeve is seeing people at the gym or like on their Instagram videos wearing a belt for everything. You do not need to wear a belt if you're doing lateral dumbbell raises. No, stop. Okay. So you don't need a belt for every single thing. What the belt is there to do. Okay, so one of the main times when I use a belt is when going for a really heavy or a max effort squat, for example. So what the belt is going to do, you put it around your abdomen and you want to pull it as tight as possible. So when I put on my belt, I kind of loop it around and then I take in a big breath and then I exhale and I finish pulling it over. So I have all the air out of my belly, out of my abdomen. I have all that air out and the belt as tight as I can get it. Now, when I go in for, you know, a max effort squat, your core needs to be tight when you're squatting. Your core needs to be tight when you're doing everything. But something that's a big thing when people squat is they lose their core tightness. So if you're in a max effort squat, something that could keep you from coming up out of the hole is the degree of tightness in your core. So what this belt is here to help do, when you take that breath, I also take a big breath before I go down. So I'm here with the bar, then you descend, and as you come up, you're creating what's called intra-abdominal pressure. So your abdominals are pushing out against that belt and creating that pressure, and that engages your core. So when you're coming up, if you're grinding through a sticking point, for example, and you push out against that belt and you're, you know, using your core, then that can help you stand up. But with that, you need to be able to, like I said, I only use that for, you know, max effort squats, or if I'm doing a lot of strength squatting, frequently, I guess you could say, or if I'm going for a really heavy clean, or a really heavy deadlift, or a max effort of any of those three things. Those are really the only times that I use my belt. You need to teach your body how to use your core and how to create that inter-abdominal pressure on your own without the assistance of a belt. And like I said, this is just a tool. It's not a crutch. So really, if I had to say when to use a belt, I would say when you're going for extremely heavy or, you know, max effort lifts. It's an aid. It can be a safety thing, you know, just making sure you're keeping everything tight. Only use a belt when needed. And for me, that's towards max effort lifts. I see people abuse belts all the time, and then they become dependent on them and they can't create that abdominal pressure on their own, and that is a problem. So that's that with belts. And in here, typical shaker bottle. Keep my pre-workout and my swole juice and stuff in. Okay, knee sleeves. Let's talk about knee sleeves for a hot second. This is another thing that I get questions about a lot. Really the main thing with knee sleeves, in my opinion, is they provide a slight bit of compression, nothing crazy. They're very stretchy. They just go right, they slide right over your knee. They help provide a little bit of stability, but then also because it is, you know, a compression type material and it's going over your knee, which is a joint, it helps keep your joints warm and helps keep your joints lubricated. So if you're someone who can benefit, like people ask, you know, when, like who should wear knee sleeves? If you're doing a lot of things, if you're doing a lot of strength training where you go into knee flexion, so deep knee flexion, like squatting, deadlifting, Olympic lifting, powerlifting, all that stuff. This just helps provide a little bit of stability, keeps your knees and your joint, keeps your knee joint warm, and all that good stuff. So especially in training cycles where I am doing a lot of strength training, those get put to good use. Another thing that I get asked about a lot, more so because of the pattern, but are my wrist wraps. So as you can see, they are a super cute Wonder Woman pattern. These are from Strength Wraps, and I will put their Instagram right here. But these, I wear these mostly for kind of like with the knee sleeves providing a little bit of stability. This provides a little bit more wrist stability. So because I weightlift, especially when I was getting ready for my meet, for example, it's a lot of overhead volume. That's a lot of weight on your wrists, which are a small joint. So I would use wrist wraps just to provide a little bit of extra stability for the large amount of overhead work that I was doing and still do. So if you're someone that does a lot of overhead work, heavy overhead work, not just like accessory overhead work, I guess, but if you do a lot of heavy overhead work, then you might benefit from wrist wraps. Wrist wraps, not straps. Straps we'll get to, I guess, now. So now we're going to talk about straps. These are my lovely donuts. Oh, my face is getting cooked. So there we go. My lovely donuts and deadlift straps. Hey. Okay. So what wrist straps are for a lot of people, and myself included, grip can be a limiting factor. So that means your grip strength isn't strong enough. So I'll just put this caveat in now. If you need wrist straps because your grip is weak, you also need to work on strengthening your grip because it is really important. So don't just rely on straps to get you through. But what wrist straps do is they help you with your grip. So times when I use these, for one time when I use these a lot is with RDLs, so Romanian deadlifts. I want to be able to push the weight on those because they're a really great full posterior chain exercise, but particularly my hamstrings because that is a weak point, so I want to be able to go heavy on those. But if I want to go heavy for reps, my grip is a limiting factor, so something that I use my straps on a lot is Romanian deadlifts, and they just wrap around the bar, and they improve your grip. They help you hold on to the bar. Another time when I will favor straps, is if I'm going for, you know, a max deadlift. I believe I did have wraps on when I pulled 300. Another time, I don't use them for cleans. I have used the shorter strapped wraps, or shorter strapped straps for snatches before, and that's helped. Yeah, so wraps are going to be a lot for grip strength. So if you struggle with your grip strength, wraps might be something that you would want to look into as long as you're still working on improving your grip strength. Just something that I've done, or that Eric has programmed for me to do to help with my my grip strength is we've done a lot of stuff with fat grips, so that forces you to grip tighter. A lot of farmers carries, things like that, just things that obviously involve your grip and forcing you to do that. Something that really helps me with my grip, especially with Olympics, is hook grip. So for those of you who don't know, hook gripping is where your thumb is under and your fingers are over, and that just, it helps a lot. And I'm now in the habit of hook gripping everything. Like literally, there was that one video, if you remember, I'm like, why am I hook gripping my squat? What? Yeah. So straps are gonna help you with your grip strength. Everybody always asks me, this is my rusty trusty Lululemon headband that I wear for a lot of my lifts. I like it because it's thicker, so it keeps my bangs out of the way, and it's super cute, and it's Lulu, and we love Lulu. But then last but not least, I will talk about a few different mobilization and recovery tools that I use. So one, super simple, is a golf ball. You can use a golf ball, you can use a lacrosse ball, you can use baseballs taped together. It looks like a little peanut, but this is just one form of myofascial release, is using something like a golf ball or a lacrosse ball or a peanut or anything like that, rolling around on that. I find that the golf ball, it's nice and hard, so it digs into those places that you don't want to be digged into but need to be digged into. So that's really good for that. Another myofascial release thing would be obviously a foam roller. So, and with myofascial release, I will do this before a lift, after a lift, just chilling at home. So this foam roller, I will try and do like a mobilization video for you guys sometime in the near future. It's hard because I would like Eric to be in it so he can explain some of the things that he has me do, but it's hard to get our schedules to line up, and we spend so much time in the gym as it is that we don't want to be there all day filming videos. But anyway, another thing, I use this for band flossing, is just a thick, large band. I'll use this to floss my hips, floss my ankles, floss my shoulders, anything like that. So that's a really important tool. You just kind of have to anchor it to something that's not going to move. So I anchor this to the GHD a lot, or if I'm at home like a really heavy coffee table, I will anchor this to that. And then last but not least, this is the newest addition to my gym bag that I'm obsessed with. Mark Bell's Hip Circle. And this has become one of my favorite tools. So things you can do with this, that I do with this, banded hip thrusts, double banded hip thrusts, lateral walks, monster walks, banded hip abductions. I warm up my squat with this. Trying to squat with this thing on sucks. But I've really loved this, and it's super small and compact, so it fits nicely into any gym bag, whether you have one as big as mine or not. And it's just a really versatile tool. It is very, I have the large one. It is very sturdy and doesn't stretch a whole lot, but this will light a fire in your glutes. So I think that is it. As both a bodybuilder and a strength athlete, those are some of my main essentials that I don't leave home without. When I'm going to the gym, when I'm traveling, anything like that. So hopefully that was helpful to at least someone. And if you guys have any questions about anything that I use during my training or anything like that, feel free to leave a comment below. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. And also, if you have any future video suggestions, let me know. But yeah, that's been our video for today, and I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Got to make myself look all nice. Got to zhuzh this a little. Oh, that's out of line. Okay. Okay. That was so annoying. Bye. 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 I can do a stitch brace. Well, or how that means family. Okay, I'm ending this now. Goodbye.